There's a long way down. I am feeling pretty shattered at the moment.
Why are we doing this again?
Welcome to Roughing It with Ruth, the channel where everything is a bit rough around the edges. Today I am going to be starting my biggest backpacking adventure yet. I am in the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa, and we are about to start the Drakensberg Grand Traverse, which traverses the entire Drakensberg mountain range. I am not doing this adventure alone.
In front we have Evadne, then Quentin, then Chengi, then Lana, right?
Yes.
Right? That's our new hiker. And Ross and Ralph and Heidi and Bruno. And me!
So an absolutely wonderful part of this trip is that my husband Ralph, who's unfortunately not coming with on the whole trip, but he is getting to come with for the first night. So he's coming up the chain ladders with us, and then we're going to be camping at the top of Tugela Falls, and then when we continue the next day, he's going to come back down here and drive back home. But it's a lot less awful having to say goodbye on top of the mountain than right now. Last night we all stayed at Vitsishoek Mountain Lodge, which is the highest place that you can stay that's closest to the Sentinel car park where you begin the Grand Traverse. Vitsishoek Mountain Lodge also offers a shuttle that runs from the lodge all the way up to the car park, which is very convenient because the road from the mountain lodge to the car park is very rough. You need a real proper 4x4 vehicle to get over there, which I don't own. So I'm glad that we can make use of the shuttle services at Vitsishoek. Let's get going up the mountain. We've officially started our Drakensberg Grand Traverse. We're just going to go see a viewpoint now. So we've gone a slight little detour. We left our packs behind at the junction. And although the Drakensberg Grand Traverse is not a marked trail, there are certain checkpoints that you have to hit if you want your Drakensberg Grand Traverse to be an officially recognized Grand Traverse. And the first one of which is the chain ladders, which is what we're going to now. They are pretty intimidating, but also one of the fastest ways to get to the top of the Drakensberg. So the chain ladders are split into two. That's Lana going up the second half of the chain ladders. The chain ladders are actually split into two. So there's the first section, and then you have to kind of come past on the rocks a little bit. And then there's a second chain ladder up here. And they're two side by side. I like these ones with the rings because they're a little bit more stable, as in they move slightly less. Both of them are safe. I think you can kind of see where Lana's climbing. The ladder just kind of sways a little bit more. But some people prefer that other one that Lana's doing because the rings do also make it quite narrow. Like they like push against your arms as you're climbing. Made it up the chain ladders. It's always an adventure. So you can see down there in the grey shirt, that's Quentin. He's standing at the top of the first chain ladder, and Ralph in the white shirt is standing at the bottom of the second chain ladder, and I'm standing at the top of the second chain ladder. Gosh, the wind is completely crazy up here. I hope that these guys that are climbing are slightly more sheltered. made it to our campsite for the first night, and it's on the Elands River. So when we got to the Tugela River, we saw, what was it, 27 tents? It was a lot of tents. It was like tent city, and a lot of people, a lot of day hikers as well. But our intention was never to camp there. We just wanted to go and have a look at the falls. And here where we are, it is only us. There's no one else here. So if you're looking for a place that is near Tugela Falls but a lot quieter, I definitely recommend going over the little ridge to the Elands River and looking for camping there, because it's only maybe like 1.2 kilometers away, something like that. It's not far, but it is much more peaceful over here. Ralph has been collecting everybody's trash to take back with him tomorrow, which is really nice of him. So there was just a absolutely massive thunderstorm. I didn't film it, unfortunately, because I was cinched into my sleeping bag, but luckily it didn't last very long. You can kind of still hear the faraway rumblings of the thunder still, but it's definitely moving away, and it's not raining anymore. So we're going to take the opportunity to quickly go and pee, and then I'm going to go to bed for the night. We had this lovely little stream right outside our tent, and it provided some quality white noise throughout the night, which I think definitely helped with the good quality sleep. So I've switched to the GoPro for filming for the moment, because it does look like there is some weather moving in, and I don't want the other camera to get wet. Everyone is just packing up at the moment, and the plan was to summit Mont-Aux-Sources. Hopefully the stormy weather allows us to do that. It has just started raining a little bit, so we've just stopped to put on some waterproof layers. Weirdly, I'm actually quite warm, except for my feet. I think because the grass and stuff is wet, it's wet my shoes and my socks. So my toes are pretty cold, but the rest of me is toasty warm. So hopefully I can just act like a radiator and send some warm blood to my toes. To Mont-Aux-Sources. Mont-Aux-Sources? Mont-Aux-Sources. Okay. Cool. Oh. So we've managed to get off the incredibly windy peak of Mont-Aux-Sources, and we're now descending down towards the Kabenu River, which Evadne just informed me of the name. It's apparently one of the rivers that comes down off Mont-Aux-Sources.
When we get down to the river, we'll stop and have a river.
Okay, we'll stop and have a break at the river. Kyphofia, red hot poker.
Take a picture.
Evadne is a wealth of knowledge today.
It's a favorite flower.
Very pretty. Okay, so we made it up Stimula Ridge, and behind me, down at the bottom, is where we're going to be camping, at the top, or kind of near the top of Madonna Pass. We've done quite a bit today. It has not been easy. I must say the Stimula Ridge, the uphill part was killing me a little bit, but now that we're at the top, it feels okay. The Drakensberg Grand Traverse is definitely a bit of a choose-your-own adventure in a lot of respects. There are a couple of checkpoints that you need to hit in order for it to be an official Grand Traverse, but they're mostly peaks, and in between those points you can kind of just pick your own route. You can go mostly along the valleys, straight over the ridges. It's more or less up to you, and a lot of it does not have any path at all. And if there is a path, it's usually a cattle path or a herder's path or something like that, so not a proper hiking trail. We made it to Madonna Pass, which is where we're camped, which was the plan, so executed the day perfectly. But I'm not going to lie, the last ridge, that Stimula Ridge, I found really tough, and I am really tired, and I was feeling a bit down about being so tired, but then luckily Chengi and Evadne gave me a bit of a pep talk. We went down to the river to have a bit of a wash, which also helped, so I got clean. They sort of said to me that it is totally normal to feel very tired at the end of every day, so feeling slightly better about life now. Right, so we're all packed up. We're about to leave where we camped near Madonna's Pass. There was quite a bit of wind last night, which did make it slightly colder, but the sunset and sunrise were both absolutely spectacular, so it was definitely worth it. And today we're heading out more towards the Mweni cutback, and I believe we're going to be camping somewhere near Rockery's Pass. So Vadney was just telling us that this little rock dude here is called the Traveller. You can kind of see he's got like a backpack and a wide brim hat, or like a knapsack maybe, that he's like leaning forward against. And he's the last one in that line of Madonna and her worshippers. We just can't see the rest of them from this perspective. We're at Fang's Pass now. So we just stopped for our breakfast break before we tackle yet another hill. I'm going to have some tea and some rusks. We just walked through the Mweni cutback, which had some really nice views, and then we came down towards the Senku River. And unfortunately, at this point, Lana and Heidi and Bruno have gone down Rockeries, so they've left the group. So we're just 5 now, continuing on for the rest of the Grand Traverse. But the weather has been remarkably good. There was one point where we could kind of see rain moving towards us, but then it moved away from us again. So we haven't gotten wet yet today. I think I've jinxed it. I think I've just jinxed it.
Chingy and Evadne are providing some much needed perspective on this massive open valley.
We got to camp really early today. I think we got here at about 2. And that was very nice because it was very hot and sunny. So we could like do laundry and rinse in the river and put everything out to dry. And we just had a lot of time here. And the campsite itself is so pretty. It's this massive field of flowers with lots and lots of lovely flat spots to camp. So you can really pick wherever you like to set up your tent. It's pretty hot, but some clouds have just moved over and it's starting to get a little bit chilly. So I think it's probably going to be a little bit of a chilly night again. There's quite a lot of wind as well, but we did change our original campsite because our original campsite was up much higher and no one was really in the mood for another super windy night like we had last night. So I think down here we should be slightly more protected. I am trying to stay very on top of things going wrong, like putting plasters on any little nicks and cuts that I get and putting anti-chafe cream on any areas that are chafing. I seem to have already damaged my backpack. I don't know if you can see on the camera here, there's a little hole, and here there's a hole. I think that I am going to stick some repair patch on the inside first and then stick it on the outside. This is the finished product. I've kind of rounded the corners to attempt to stop it from peeling, and I've stuck similar sized pieces on the inside of the stretch mesh as well. So the piece that you see is kind of like half bonded to another piece on the inside. And hopefully that will work. I'm going to leave it like this all night before I actually pack the pocket with anything. I'm very aware that this is not even halfway through the hike. So here's hoping it's all as awesome as today. On the morning of day 3, when I woke up, I had quite a lot of condensation on the inside of the fly sheet, as well as condensation on the outside of the fly sheet of the tent, despite having slept with one of the doors fully open because I was actually getting a bit too hot in the night. And I think it was just a factor of me being quite warm and us being camped right next to a river. And then the day started out really lovely with great weather, and we met another group of 3 hikers that we had briefly met previously near Madonna Pass.
Look, we found civilization, the other hikers. After a very long distance. These guys are doing like a mini traverse, so that you're going down organ pipes.
Where are we going down? Yeah, okay.
Organ pipes. Okay. Okay, so you're still going to decide. Yeah. Okay, cool.
We met them at Vulture campsite, and they told us that they are going to do a mini traverse. So I hope that they had a really good hike as well. Last time I was here was in, many years ago with Ralph and Finton. We came up in Nguza Pass, and now we are at the top, looking down in Guza Pass. I have not been back here since we came up here, so that's really cool. The camera's taking the video of the exact thing that I'm looking at, but I feel like there's a bit of a missing sense of scope of like how high up we are and how big the mountains are. I'm having a sucky time. I'm 100% having a sucky time right now. But I know it's not going to end. I mean, it's not going to end for another 9 days, but it's going to briefly end when we get to camp. So I can't completely fall apart right now. Yes, it is going to be nice. Get in the tent and take painkillers. I think up until about lunchtime, I was okay. But the last climb of the day really took it out of me. I felt completely destroyed going up that climb. And the weather was also being a bit up and down. At one point, it started hailing briefly. We are now at camp. We have gotten to Tseketeke Pass and we're camped. And I've pitched my tent a little bit higher up away from the river. And it is a little bit more windy here. You might even be able to hear the wind whistling around the tent a little bit while I'm talking. But I think that this tent handles the wind a lot better than it handles the condensation. So I'm willing to put up with that. And I am feeling pretty shattered at the moment. It has taken me like 2 hours to get the tent up and get all the stuff set up and get to the point where I'm ready to make food. This Drakensberg Grand Traverse is not a joke. I think at some point it will definitely test you. Don't know if it's great news that day has come for me on day 3, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it'll all be better in comparison from here on out. Still got 9 days left, so... So we had a
big storm last night with a lot of wind and a lot of rain, and it's still kind of raining softly this morning, just constantly. So I've packed up the inner of the tent and all the rest of my stuff just sitting underneath the fly sheet, kind of like a giant tarp. And I'm just gonna try and pack up the tarp or the fly sheet very last, so that I can have maximum amount of dry time. Okay, so we are on our way to Cleft Peak, which is the third checkpoint that we need to hit. How many are there in total, Evadne?
Second checkpoint.
No, we did Chain Ladders, Mont-Aux-Sources, Cleft Peak.
Oh, checkpoint, okay. Second. There are 6
6 peaks, plus the Chain Ladders, plus Bushman's Neck. So 9 points, maths, something
8.
like 8? Yes. 8 probably.
This is really sort of the
Update from inside the very crowded Durston Exmid.
0% precipitation.
0% precipitation as the sound of the rain beats down on the fly sheets.
It's not wrong for you to get it.
Partly cloudy.
Partly
No
cloudy.
sun.
And I was so surprised. We've been going for 5 hours and I didn't even realize, because we've just been walking like zombies in the terrible, terrible weather. But at least now we get to stop for a brief respite.
Today was a slog. The persistent rain and everything just being kind of damp was very tough mentally, and the navigation was a lot more difficult, and despite the fact that kilometers wise it wasn't all that far, it felt really tough. So we also didn't quite make the campsite that we were intending to go to. We're about 1 kilometer away from it, which means that tomorrow will be 1 kilometer more, and tomorrow is quite a big day. I really, really hope that the weather is better tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna feed myself and then go to sleep. Oh, and we're also leaving half an hour earlier tomorrow to try and catch up a little bit. Okay, so fantastically, when we woke up this morning, there were no clouds. So hopefully we're going to have slightly better weather today than yesterday. It is still mildly unpleasant because we have to put our feet back into our wet shoes and put on damp clothing, and the tents are all kind of wet. But if it's sunny later on, we'll be able to stop and dry stuff out, which would be fantastic. think that is one of the mistakes that people make, is that they think that the escarpment is flat, and it is 100% not flat. It's basically just a set of mountains linked together that you have to go over. So, I mean, we're doing like little mini passes every day, which is quite tiring.
On day 5, we luckily did have slightly better weather. There was no rain, and we summited Champagne Castle, which is one of the compulsory peaks that you have to do for an official Drakensberg Grand Traverse. And we also did a couple of other climbs because our elevation gain in the end was over 1,000 meters, and it was a very, very long day. We hiked from 5:30 till 5:30, just about. I think it was like 11 hours and 48 minutes, something like that, including all the breaks. Today is also Resupply Day, day 6. So halfway through the day, we'll be meeting the Resupply team who hike up with our food packages and make our bags heavy again. Yay! We are on our way to Mafadi, which is the highest mountain in South Africa and also one of the compulsory peaks on the Drakensberg Grand Traverse.
The mountain weather just says rain all day, every day. For the next 5 days. Even worse. Okay, we get what we get.
You get what you get and you don't get upset.
I don't know, 5 days of rain might upset me.
Yeah. Flip, man. It was very, very cold at the top of Mafadi. The wind was crazy. It's quite cool that we went to the highest point in the whole of South Africa. I think it's 3,450 meters above sea level. And I've never been there before, so that was a cool experience. Okay, so we're about halfway on day 6 in the valley somewhere below Judge's Peak, and we have done about half the elevation as well. So we still have quite a bit to do, and we also still have to meet up with the Resupply team.
We've reached the campsite for day 6, which is just at the foot of Langalalibalele Pass. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, I'll put the name on the screen. And I'm just looking after the stuff at the campsite, and the others have gone to go and fetch the resupply. I actually think I found yesterday harder than today. I am concerned about the next couple of days weather-wise, because the Garmin weather report and mountain forecast weather report for the next 5 days is just like rain, 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 rain. So, I mean, I guess all we can do is kind of hope that maybe they've got it wrong.
Pat brought us our resupply. Shame, and apparently along the way injured his knee quite badly, so I really hope that he's okay. But then he also very kindly, for both myself and Chengi, we needed some extra pajama layers, so he bought us these incredibly stylish flannel pajamas from Pep. They have little dogs on them with bows, and it's got a bow as well, I think. Yes, it's got a bow on it as well. Comes with a matching shirt. I also am a little freaked out by the weight of the resupply pack that I packed. Going to have to fit all that into my backpack. It's going to be really, really heavy again tomorrow, so not looking forward to that. But otherwise, today was actually a really good day. I was tired, but it was good.
Okay, well, the pack is heavy. I'm definitely feeling the effects of being out here for more than 6 days. But on the plus side, every step from here on out is more than halfway closer to the end. So that's good. We've all got our outers of our tents packed in accessible places just in case we have terrible weather like we did on day 2, day 3. I can't even remember the last time we had bad weather. Shengi, did you wear those pajamas last night?
Yeah, I did.
They're quite cozy, right?
Exactly, they're quite warm, eh?
I honestly love them.
Yes, Chengi. You can hold the grass, that's great.
By the root.
Yes, nice.
And we're up.
1.8. That's fantastic news. That is fantastic news.
Okay, so we are camped in kind of the valley below Giant's Castle Pass, and if it clears up later, then we will try to summit Giant's Castle Peak. At the moment, it's pretty misty and rainy, so we'll have to wait and see what the weather does, and if it doesn't clear up today, then we will try to summit tomorrow morning instead. Oh man, the weather is just, it's not great at the moment. So we camped below Giant's Castle hoping the weather would get better yesterday, and it didn't. This morning the weather is still pretty terrible. All four of the others, Evadne, Chengi, Ross and Quentin, have gone to try and summit Giant's Castle Peak. Last night I was having like stomach cramps and a bit of a fever and not feeling great, so I've decided to skip trying to summit the peak in favor of trying to just finish the traverse. I'm just slowly packing up my stuff, and when the others get back down, then we'll continue further. Just went outside to go to the toilet. It's absolutely icy out there. Thick mist, unbelievable wind. Sorry, I think the GoPro lens is really fogged up, but anyway, it's what I've got to work with. So everyone else got back from summiting Giant's Castle Peak, and we are now packed up, and it is incredibly windy and misty, kind of like half rain, half mist, and wet and freezing. So hopefully wherever we walk to we'll have some slightly better weather.
Sorry, I haven't been using the microphone all that much. I just can't use it when it's wet and raining because it's not waterproof. And honestly, it's just easier to use the GoPro. I hope the footage on the GoPro comes out okay, because the GoPro itself is pretty like fogged up from condensation from being in the wet the whole time. But I mean, this is the channel where everything is rough around the edges. We'll just roll with it. We'll take whatever footage we can get. Into any little hollow. Shaggy, that black rock just in front of you, that one's gripping again.
As Quentin says, this is not going to be one of those videos of the Drakensberg Grand Traverse that starts out with a lot of excitement and then kind of dies. Even though, quite honestly, I feel like that is pretty much what's been happening with the filming. Because I'm like more and more tired, less and less inclined to film anything. But anyway, tonight we are staying at an abandoned kraal, and 5 Basotho shepherds actually came and greeted us when we pitched up here and said that we could stay here, and we gave them some cigarettes, and Quentin bought a bell off of one of them that he wanted. But this is our campsite for tonight. There's the abandoned kraal, and here are all our tents on a very flat, nice, manicured lawn. Call it warm, but it's not as cold as it could be, I suppose. So we are about to tackle the last peak for the Drakensberg Grand Traverse, which is also the tallest peak in southern Africa, south of Kilimanjaro. It's in Lesotho, not in South Africa, so it's the tallest peak in Lesotho. And it's called Tabana Netlinyana. I keep getting it more and more wrong. Klenyana. Tabana Nklenyana. Okay. Okay, so we just had lunch after summiting the final 6th peak. I'm not feeling great at the moment. I think it's a little bit of altitude sickness. I've got like a headache and nausea. So we're just gonna carry on going and hopefully lose some altitude, and hopefully that'll make things feel a bit better. I have taken some painkillers as well. My gosh. Okay, so I don't think I filmed anything after the point where I said I was feeling so bad, because I just got progressively worse and worse and worse. I had this pounding, throbbing headache that just wouldn't go away, that eventually was making me feel quite nauseous, so I couldn't eat anything either. But luckily all of the people with me took really good care of me, and we kind of just had to make it to our destination. And the reason that we had to make it is because Evadne had actually organized that we got to stay in these little rondavels at the Sani Top Church. Thank goodness that was this night, because we actually got to have a hot shower, and they're making us some food now. And yeah, it's been very welcome feeling the way that I do at the moment. So we do have some rain scheduled again for the next couple of days, but we are 3/4 of the way through the entire Grand Traverse, and I'm just going to force myself to eat some food now, and sleep, and hopefully that'll take care of everything. Hopefully tomorrow is a new and better day. We are about to leave our lovely accommodations at Sarnie Top Church and continue on into the wilderness where there's no indoor plumbing or hot showers. Why are we doing this again? GoPro is going to pick it up. Okay, so like there's the church. There's the church where we came from. It's Madonna, the one that's sticking up like a peak.
Yeah.
Yo, it's far that we've traveled. That's not even all of it. So we've done 14 kilometers today. It's scheduled to be 18 kilometers, but there is a little bit of thunder in the distance and a potential thunderstorm rolling towards us. So we're just going to hang out at this little cliff and wait and see what happens for like 10 minutes. So it has stopped raining on us. There are various rainstorms in the area, but it's not raining here right now. So we're getting going again. Waiting out the storm, take 2. This is our campsite for tonight. It is not quite as far as we wanted to get. We wanted to get to Mashai Pass, which is on the other side of that ridge. But we had to wait out 2 thunderstorms on the way here. So we camped here. We just had to carry up some water from down there in the valley and found a relatively flat, relatively dry spot. I actually totally forgot to mention yesterday when I was feeling so incredibly bad with altitude sickness and I had a headache. Right at lunchtime, I took out my stove to try and heat some water because I usually eat a dehydrated meal for lunch. And unfortunately, the stove, the regulator, or not the regulator, the valve, the little thing that you twist to allow the gas out, seems to be broken. It doesn't shut off properly, so gas just like constantly escapes. So if you manage to ignite it, you can't actually turn it off fully. You have to like blow it out to get it to turn off. But luckily, the other people that I'm with also have stoves, and Quentin has very kindly boiled some water for me this evening. So I've just had my hot chocolate, and I'm about to have my butter chicken freeze-dried meal now. Today was not a trivial day. We had to wait out 2 thunderstorms. So although we were actually like powering along quite well, because of having to sit and wait for the thunderstorms to finish, it ended up costing us quite a bit of time, and we didn't quite get to the campsite that we were intending to get to. So we'll have to try and make up what we can tomorrow and the next day. It's never a dull moment on the Drakensberg Grand Traverse, that's for sure. Like, it's either absolutely jaw-breakingly spectacular, or it's make you shake in your boots terrifying. One of the two extremes. So today we had some insane wind when we were going over Wilson's Peak and along the ridge to Isikatula Pass. Like absolute gale force winds. I didn't really film very much because I was concentrating on not being blown off the mountain, but I think I did get a little bit of footage. And we are now camping quite close to the base of Tamatu Pass, which is what we're going to be going down tomorrow. So it's our last night in the Drakensberg tonight. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to getting back to Ralph and my son and having a shower. That would be great. That would be amazing. But I am gonna miss the mountains and the views and all the good times that we had. But sheesh, at the moment I'm feeling pretty wrecked. My shoes are also feeling pretty wrecked. I've got like a
massive hole in the side of my shoe. It was perfectly fine when I started this Grand Traverse, so Grand Traverse hard on bodies and hard on footwear.
Final day on the Grand Traverse. Thank you for visiting the Molotti Drakensberg Park World Heritage Site. Drive carefully.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we're actually done. We're at Bushman's Neck now, which is officially the end of the Drakensberg Grand Traverse after 12 days. This was by far the toughest hike that I've ever done, but absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to see my husband and my son again. I've been missing them so much.
What I realized while I was hiking was there are kind of two things that really make it difficult mentally to do the Drakensberg Grand Traverse. And the one is just the length of time that you're out there. You absolutely cannot let yourself go into a spiral of dark thoughts, because you have to be out there for 12 to 13 days. It was very difficult for me when I found myself thinking those thoughts to kind of redirect my brain and just refuse to think that way and force myself to think of something else or distract myself in some way. At various points it was really, really, really difficult, and I was not enjoying myself at various points. But the thing is that none of those thoughts or emotions last forever. So you just have to get yourself through that patch and onto the next phase. And then the other thing that I didn't really know was going to happen until I was out there, but obviously if you're on a hike of that length, something is going to go wrong. Just absolutely guaranteed. Things are going to go wrong, because you're out there for so long in such a wild environment. And what I really had to stop myself from doing was catastrophizing about things when they went wrong. Like if the stove breaks, or you get a wound, or you roll your ankle, or your pack gets a hole in it, you have to just kind of deal with it and be like, okay, this thing has happened, and now we're going to try and fix it in some way or make some other plan, and not start thinking, oh, this is such a disaster, and oh my gosh, this is another thing that's gone wrong, and now this is completely destroying my hike, and what am I going to do? And those sorts of thoughts are not helpful at all. You just have to deal with it and make a plan. This hike has definitely taught me a massive amount about myself and about the Drakensberg as well. And I wouldn't have changed anything now that I'm back here. I wouldn't have changed anything, even though it was a massive challenge. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to see more videos from me, then you can click on my channel name to see videos that I've made in the past, or you can subscribe to my channel to see videos that I'm going to make in the future.